Good morning and welcome to the first NCompass Live of 2025. Yay. I am your host, Krista Porter, here at the Nebraska Library Commission. NCompass Live is the Library Commission's weekly webinar series where we cover a variety of topics that may be of interest to libraries. We broadcast the show live every Wednesday morning, but if you're unable to join us on Wednesdays, that's fine. We do record the show as we are doing today, and you can watch it later at your convenience. And I will show you at the end of today's show where you can access all of our show recordings. Both the live show and the recordings are free and open to anyone to watch. So please do share with your friends, family, neighbors, colleagues, anyone you think might be interested in any of the shows that we have on NCompass Live. For those of you not from Nebraska, the Nebraska Library Commission is the state agency for libraries, so similar to your whatever state library. So we provide services and resources and training and grants and databases and all sorts of things to all types of libraries in the state. So there will be shows on NCompass Live for all types of libraries: public, academic, K-12, corrections, museums, historical societies, archives. Really, our only criteria is that it's something to do with libraries, something cool libraries are doing, something cool we think they could be doing. We do book reviews, interviews, mini training sessions, demos of services, products, presentations, all sorts of things. We have guest speakers that come on NCompass Live from all across the country sometimes, but we also have a Nebraska Library Commission staff that do presentations for us. And that is what we have today. Today, joining us is Sally Snyder, who is the Library Commission's Coordinator of Children and Young Adult Library Services. Good morning, Sally.
Good morning.
Good morning. And she is going to talk about the best new teen reads of 2024.
Even though it is 2025 now.
That's okay. No, you see what came out last year. Yeah, and this is a companion show to her Best New Children's Books of 2024. So if you are youth, children's librarian, and you're wondering, well, this is just for teens, what about the kids? She actually did that session on December 11th, and the recording is on our show archives, and I'll show you, like I said, I'll show you where that is when at the end of today's shows, you can see where this show's archive is going to be as well. So she does Best New Children's Books, and then she does the Best New Teen Reads as well session. There's just so many good books out there, you can't get it all into one session. And I will give a warning, this show may run longer than usual. They tend to when Sally does her sessions. Officially, it's an hour-long show, 10 to 11 a.m. Central Time, but it may run long. If it does, we'll record the whole thing, and the whole thing will be available to you. If you need to leave because you only allotted an hour time to the show, that's fine. Go ahead and do that, and you'll have the full recording to watch later. But in addition, Sally's going to show you right now where you can find handout with all these book titles on it for you to look at yourself. So go ahead, Sally.
Okay. Well, I have a list. We'll go find it right now. If you're looking at the Library Commission main page, web page, over here, we can do a search. And the search is handout. Did I spell it right? I had a feeling I went wrong. There we go.
You did it right. Yep.
Top thing says Library Commission handouts. It sounds like all our handouts are there, but right now it's just me, still just me. And there's a lot down here. If you ever want to see what was good in 2021, according to me, you can look. But I keep telling people you can put your handouts here and we can do Sally's stuff, somebody else's stuff, but they're sharing their things another way. So that's okay. So right here under 2025 NCompass Live is the best new teen books of 2024 complete list. So you click on that and there's your list. And I tried to give you space so you could, if you're listening to me as you jot things down in here, you can write yes with big letters. I put a big X through it. If you don't want it, that's okay. Because there are a lot of books on this list and not as many as I wanted on there because I'm reading lots of things and hear about good books and I try to find them. If I don't, we get quite a few free books from the publishers here for review. So I go through those and I find the ones that I want to read. It's not what I want to read, it's will it be a good one? And what I hear from people, hear from, on the internet. Also, I look up reviews because we have novel lists on our databases, so I can look up the reviews to see what's getting a good review, or why didn't School Library Journal like that one? No, I see, that's an issue. Things like that. I look at the public library, I look at blogs, and there's still so many books I haven't even heard of that came out last year. So how do you even get a handle on what all's available? I don't know. This is the best I can do. So I'm sharing it with you today. And so you can get your handout now or after the show. It's up to you what you'd like to do. I'm going to go back to our main page and then pop up my my presentation slideshow from beginning. There we go.
Perfect. Yep.
Now we'll get started. It is just the teen title. So I start with fiction for younger teens, which is generally middle school. Sometimes, depending on if you have middle school or junior highs in your community, these can be aimed at grades 5 to 7 is a breakdown I see a lot from public review publications, book list, and School Library Journal, etc. So it goes in my fiction for younger teens. So they might just really only be 12. We all know that kids and teens read at their own level and own speed, and so this is just a generalization. The older books for older teens may have some more older teen topics in there, so you got to think about that too when you're looking at reading level, etc. And just so you know, I do have my blurb sheet, so this will mean I stick to what I have to say about each book. This gives me what I want to point out that's good, or if there's an issue, I want you to know about it. And also, I'll probably only be a little over an hour instead of 3 hours, because if you let me go freestyle, I don't know when I'll stop, because I love to talk about books.
Talking about the books.
So here we go. First book is Duel. This is a full color graphic novel. Sister Gigi, she is the queen of 8th grade, and her younger sister Lucy is new to middle school, and she's in 6th grade, and school's just started. They have been at odds with each other since their father died. And now Gigi tripped Lucy in the cafeteria in front of everybody. And so that resulted in Lucy challenging Gigi to a fencing match because their father had been teaching them how to fence. Now Gigi has to walk the straight and narrow after this lunchroom situation, or she could be kicked off the fencing team. And Lucy is also in trouble with the principal and her mother. Meanwhile, students are picking who they want to support on this battle that's going to happen. They scheme and practice and find their own way through school, but they do finally have a fencing match with each other, but things have worked through better by the time they get to the fencing match. Booklist says this heartening story of growth and a family healing from loss is a natural pick for fans of Raina Telgemeier and Shannon Hale. So that's a strong recommendation for that too. Bridget, 16, is from small town Nebraska and was the star of every stage production in her high school. She is aware of her talent and is always willing to share it. Now she has been accepted at the Richard James Academy in Chicago, and she is ready to shine there. However, she did so badly on her theory test that she is not accepted to the music focus program, but only as a general education student. She has a lot to learn. And then the dean suggests to her that she not sing at all during the first semester. Well, she lives to sing. That is who she is. But she realizes she must do what is suggested by the dean. Also, she is studying theory in order to retake the test. Now, this book did receive the 2024 Nebraska Center for the Book Teen Novel Award. Books that are considered for this award need to either have been written by a Nebraska author, set in Nebraska, or have some kind of connection with Nebraska. And because her family lives in Nebraska and she has contact with them throughout her time at this place, it was considered for that, and it received the teen award. Nice. So that's something too. This is also a full color graphic novel. Jane is indeed plain to look at, but she has grit, gumption, gall, whatever you want to call it. In order to get her own independence, she decides to propose to Peter, the most handsome guy, like a prince even, And he really wants to get away from his dad, so he might consider that. But he just got kidnapped by a mermaid. So what are you going to do now? She goes to rescue him and runs into a number of troubles. Plus, he really isn't that bright. He's kind of dull. But by happenstance, she gains 3 days of magic, and she uses it to find Peter. Accompanied by a grudgingly helpful seal, Jane may end up successful in finding her independence. There's beautiful art of the undersea world and some of the scary, with big teeth, inhabitants of it that adds to the tale. Hank is 11. He is used to taking care of his toddler sister, Boo. Their mom disappears regularly, but has always come home again after a couple of days. Now, after a week, there's no more coins or food to be had. Hank takes Boo to their late grandmother's friend's house. She was an emergency contact for them, but he's never met her. Things are good there for Boo, and that makes Hank happy. But Hank is large for his age, and Luann Adler thinks of him as an untrustworthy teenager. He is really a good kid. He is worried about them being separated. It's a tough situation, but Hank is responsible and loving to his sister, even knowing his situation is precarious. There is humor as well as tension, and Hank may find a place for him to go if things go right. School Library Journal says this is highly recommended for all middle grade collections. Pia, 12, is devastated when her grandfather is sent to Pawn Island to be a servant because his personal score has fallen to 0. All the people of Dantessa, when they're old enough, play the games and find their status based on their score. And if you get down to 0, out you go to the islands. Now to rescue Gramps, Pia joins a Pia joins a team to play in the annual, sometimes deadly, Noctis tournament with at least a chance to win big. As the game progresses, it becomes obvious that not everyone is playing fair or by the rules. What are her team's options? Cheat too? Complain? Trick the cheaters? What can they do? It's an intriguing premise involving a team of unique individuals with a strong desire to win. Another full-color graphic novel. Trying to find where she belongs in middle school, Mia, 13, is excited to join her former best friend from science camp, Tarek, who they're going to build a robot for the Science Olympics on the science team. But since she saw him at camp, Tarek has morphed from a boyish geek into a soccer-playing popular guy. Still, he is on the team and he is still friends with her. Mia is at this time also missing her former best friend, Addie, who left her to pal up with the popular crowd. So she's had some big changes happening. Mixed feelings about maybe liking a guy, jealousy when it seems a guy likes somebody else, letting others down due to hurt feelings, and coming together to make the robot work. It's all part of the story. And Kirkus says it's an achingly authentic and relatable examination of adolescent friendship. That's put so well, I had to tell you that.
Yeah.
This is a great book. I love this book. Alex did something horrible, major bad, and you don't know what that is till the end of the book. But now a judge has assigned him to work in a nursing home 5 days a week for the summer. And here he meets 107-year-old Josie Kravitz, a survivor of the Holocaust who hasn't spoken in 5 years. Josie speaks to Alex, though, and over time tells him some of his life story, the part about the Holocaust. Alex is living with his aunt and uncle, who show little interest or love for him. His mother disappeared almost a year ago. Coincidences factor into both Josie's life surviving the Holocaust and Alex's life working at the nursing home. It's a wonderful story. You really get a kick out of some of the things that happen and also really care about the characters. This is a full color graphic novel. Rosie Vo is in 8th grade She does not like racquetball, but her father loved it at her age, and he loves it still, pushing her to practice and improve. She is sure she can't, and she is sure she doesn't want to play it. She falls off her bike and meets Blair, who loves playing racquetball. Blair is good, and she's new in town. Maybe she can trade places with Rosie to win the match for Rosie's father. Great idea. Blair agrees to practice with Rosie, and Rosie does improve. With less tension from her father since he is not at their practices, Rosie feels better about racquetball and finds a compromise with her father. So this is about sharing the game with a new person and finding the positive. Practice really does help improve and making a new friend and working things out with her dad. Speaking of working things out with your father, this is another muted full color graphic novel. Chelsea no longer wants to be known as the daughter of the ghost hunter. No, please. So embarrassing. Then she begins to actually see the ghosts. Her father can't. And what her dad is doing to them is heartless, but he doesn't know it. She tries to find a way to help the ghosts without hurting her father. She thinks there may be a way to stop the occasional ghost's harmful behavior without obliterating them. And maybe she's right. This is a sequel to A-OK. It's the first year of high school for Jay. It's a full color graphic novel, by the way. Classes are harder than middle school, and his parents are pushing him to get good grades for college. He was put into the theater lab instead of art class for his elective, since art class won't be until the spring. He is not a performer and he is not comfortable with it, but there he is in class. It's about making new friends, studying a lot, and theater is new and tough, not his natural tendency, but he does begin to enjoy it. A full-color fantasy graphic novel, Juniper, assistant at the bakery in Larkspur, and her best friend Hadley, a performer at the Town's Inn, are great friends. When the bakery is given an unusual order, Juniper and Hadley agree to travel together to get the magical ingredient. While traveling, they come to a town which has been experiencing trouble. Their crops are consumed overnight, and a strange glowing goo is left behind. They are desperate for help. Hadley needs adventure material to become a better bard, so Juniper agrees as long as they are able to complete the reason they're going there. They find that everyone is afraid, worried the creatures are monsters. No one has tried to follow the gooey trail into the woods. While looking for clues, Hadley wanders away into the forest and is captured by giant caterpillars and their fey companion, Thistle. The townspeople unknowingly cut down the field of silvergrass, their favorite, and Thistle was unable to stop the caterpillars from eating the crops. They solve the mystery and find a way to make everything work for the Fae and the town. Juniper and Hadley also get help finding and harvesting the magic ingredients, so things are doing pretty good for them. This is a graphic novel too. Tara, 13, along with 2 others from her middle school, skip 8th grade and now go right to high school. She is flabbergasted. She doesn't feel ready for it. Her sister Isla is 22 months older than her and in high school. Tara struggles in this new place and without any friends, at least at first. Eventually, she becomes friends with Libby. Her real life is portrayed in shades of blue, and all her daydreams or imaginings are shades of pink. And she has some pretty amazingly incredible imaginings. You know, maybe this is going to happen. Maybe I have bugs coming out of my skin. I don't know. From a blurb in Amazon, so probably from the front cover, which I did not see. This is about being overwhelmed by who you are and who you might be, and all the possibilities in between. Yash, Arnie Yashenko, is such a good athlete, he has spent his last year of middle school playing on the high school's JV team. Now he learns that his principal cannot make good on his promise that Yash didn't need 8th grade gym class. Yash must attend summer school. Ugh. His fellow summer gym class members are misfits, uncoordinated, clumsy, and/or unknowledgeable about sports. That's why they're there. This group must play football against the current JV team at the end of the summer to complete the class. That game is known as Slugfest and is a tradition. Yash may not be the golden boy anymore. He is playing with losers, and his quarterback spot on the JV team might be going to a very talented newcomer. What can he do? This is Gordon Corman, of course. It's wonderful. It is 1896, and best friends Polly, Sophie, and Tirza have completed boarding school and each gone their own way. One of them proposes that they write one letter to the other 2 and send it along with their own new letter to the third to keep in touch, so things must be only written once. And that's how they keep touch throughout the summer and into the fall. Sophie is staying with her aunt, uncle, and cousins in London for the season, where she must find a husband this year or never at all. Tirza is Polly is teaching at an orphanage and she loves it. And Tirza is feeling trapped and staying with her grandmother in a small village in Scotland. There is nothing to do there at all, except act as a maid and read very boring books to her grandmother. And so she signs one of her letters, yours from the tower. But along with finding their way, now that school has finished, both the bad and the good, they begin to see possibilities for themselves, a good future, and maybe a romance or three might happen.
Mm.
This is book 1 of 2, it says on Amazon, so I hope that's correct. Christopher is astounded when he rescues a baby griffin from the lake on the hill by his grandfather's home. This is only the beginning. Next, he helps a girl named Mao, and soon the two of them, with the griffin, are traveling through a portal at the bottom of the lake and arrive in an archipelago of mythical creatures. And also people are there. Plenty of adventures follow. Can they save the land? Who is stealing the magic that protects the archipelago and its creatures? Will the Kraken actually kill them? Maybe. It includes a map and occasional illustrations. That's very, very fun fantasy. On a whole nother note, this is told in free verse, and it looks long. It's 506 pages, and it is a thick, heavy book, but it reads much more quickly due to so much white space in there. It's set in the mid-1990s, 8th grade for Jake. He's 13 and 14 in the book. It is torture from intense bullying. He has been losing weight to the point of endangering his life. The voice inside him tells him not to eat and to exercise more to lose weight. His only friends are his grandmother, whom he loves and with whom he shares a fondness for musical theater, and an angel statue in the park whom he named Frieden and to whom he asks for help. He is sent to an inpatient program where he is diagnosed with anorexia nervosa, depression, and OCD. He resists all help, refusing to participate in anything. The voice warns him that everyone at the facility is trying to trick him. Realistic in the amount of therapy and time it takes for Jake to begin to heal, readers will appreciate his journey and his eventual realization that he wants to be healthy. At the back of the book, readers learn the author used his own experience with anorexia to create this story of Jake, but that he also fictionalized parts of the story for the story's sake. Siblings Lizzie, 14, and Jacob, 19, end up at Bletchley Park in 1940s England. Mathematician Jacob is a code breaker, and Lizzie ends up running packages and papers from one building to another in the park. They have been told that their mother died in Poland when Germany invaded. She was there helping to close the U.S. Embassy. Jacob has accepted that, but Lizzie is certain she is still alive and she will solve this puzzle. She is a headstrong go-getter, and Jacob is a quieter and more contemplative type of guy. It includes a historical note at the back, and there are a few photographs from the time that are interspersed throughout the book.
Oh, nice.
That's a great story. Told in free verse, Isaiah 13 feels guilty for not being able to yell the word car soon he froze. It wasn't soon enough. Darius, one of his two best friends, was hit by the car and died. He was going for the world record for the longest wheelie. A man who lives in the neighborhood, it's near, but it's not their neighborhood, came out to yell at them and told them to go home. Now Darius is dead, and his other best friend, Drew, doesn't want to talk about it ever at all. Isaiah is lost. This is a full-color graphic novel. Valentina, is Vietnamese American, and she has always loved Valentine's Day and has an imaginary friend in Saint V, a cute Cupid-like apparition that she imagines and has conversations with. Now 14 and a freshman in high school, she gives her homeroom classmates homemade Valentines. It backfires. One boy, Jay, tears it up and throws it in the trash can. She will never talk to him. She learns St. Valentine was a real person, and her cute imaginary friend becomes ghoulish and demands her heart to save her from future heartbreak, a supposed curse of her family. They agree on 1 year for her to find love. Well, after some time, Val and Jay are able to really connect when they perform the lion dance in costume, Val in front and Jay in the back. Protect your heart or risk it being broken. Misunderstandings, hesitancy, afraid to talk, all occur in a natural way. What will the outcome be? There's a lot going on. Now, Gene Yang has been busy because he had his first book of class last year. Now there are 2 more, volume 2, more legendary fun. This volume centers on Jane, an archer for Jazzy Pickleton. She found a secret cave full of scrolls that helped her sneak around when attacked. The other archers accuse her of avoiding the conflict because she's sneaking around. They do not see how she helped. When she leaves Jazzy Pickleton, she goes to the middle of the goblin jungle to learn more about the secret cave of scrolls. Her team joins her, and soon she finds the cave. She is alone when she walks in and finds the Order of the Sneakers and begins her training. Meanwhile, betrayal is at hand, and this team will soon feel pain. Is there any hope? Well, yes, because there's book 3. Yay! These are so fun. Volume 3 focuses on Sunny the Golem and his partner, Zeke the Wizard. Sunny is frustrated because Zeke is not hearing Sunny's request to stop calling him Launchpad and use his name Sunny. This is important stuff. People want to be called what they want to be called, but Zeke isn't paying attention. Also, there's their supposed signature move, the launch, where Zeke stands on Sunny's eye and is launched on over their competitors. That's painful. Sunny wants him to figure out a different move, but Zeke ignores him. Sunny is hit too hard by a cannonball, and he splits into 2 smaller golemites. One is still mostly Sunny and stays with the team, and the other takes Sunny's anger and runs away. They have to find a way to bring them together again and become one. This is about listening, that it's important to listen to others. Speaking up for yourself is important too, and loyalty to friends. Now there's some nonfiction for teens, just a few here on my list. This is connected with the Bletchley Riddle book that's in the same place. This is a nonfiction book. The author tells of 10 young women, most were 18 when they began their work, who held a variety of jobs at Bletchley Park during World War II and contributed to breaking ciphers that saved lives with the information obtained. They were sworn to secrecy for the rest of their lives before even knowing what they would be asked to do. I think that's amazing. Yes, wow. We want you to work here. You have to promise never to tell anybody anything. Then we'll tell you what you're going to do. Pretty amazing. They held their silence for 30 years until they were told that they could share their experiences. One was listening for messages being sent, wrote down quickly what she heard, and sent it on to be deciphered because she understood German. Others ran strange, noisy machines that were designed to break the codes, and sometimes others translated the messages from German to English. It's fascinating reading. Fleming makes it accessible to readers not familiar with the situation. It includes several chapters on codes and ciphers and the difference between them, how they work, and a challenge to the reader to solve a couple. It includes photos from the time, source notes, an index, and an author's note. So there's a lot of detail and information in here, and she did a bunch of research for this book. Also a lot of research by Gail Jarrow. This explores the vulnerability of people hoping to contact loved ones who have passed on. The author reveals what Harry Houdini knew, that mediums and spiritualists use techniques long embraced by magicians. But magicians were trying to convince you that they could do something beyond magic. And he had a disdain for spiritualists because they were tricking people, in his opinion. That's how she explains it. Spiritualism rose during the early 1900s between World War II and the 1918 influenza pandemic. People lost family and friends. Spiritualism gave them hope for connecting with them again. Houdini and others worked hard to show people the tricks behind the seances. And Houdini would actually have a performance booked where he would reveal the secrets that the spiritualists were using and to expose them as much as possible to as many people as possible. And he also had other people working with him to attend seances and find out what they were doing and how they were doing it. It's all very, if you're interested in this kind of thing, this is a great book for you. This follows the author through her experiences while in school, elementary school through college, encountering systemic racism throughout. And that's why the title is Everything I Learned About Racism, I Learned in School. She also includes specific memories of a number of other people. As it says on the front cover, this book provides young folks with the context to think critically about and chart their own course through their current schooling and any future schooling they may pursue. Graphic nonfiction, this is her memoir of the Holocaust. The author was 7 when Germany invaded Poland, and she spent the next 5 years struggling to survive, hiding in attics, hiding other places, and she lost several members of her family. Once a girl who always had a song to sing, she became almost silent. After the war, she walked to her former home, found it occupied, lived in a displaced persons camp, and then traveled to the United States. And she did find a brother in the US. Oh, I keep that way. The history and story of 4 Black Americans who learned, promoted, and taught aviation in Chicago to Black and white American men and women during the time between World War I and World War II. They had to overcome resistance brought from prejudice and Jim Crow attitudes throughout their lives. Their determination, enthusiasm to share the mechanics of airplanes along with the how-to of flying them drew in students and gave our country many skilled pilots. It includes many pages of source notes, resources, and index. And these people here didn't always get along. They had different opinions and viewpoints about how things should be taught, how things should work, but they supported each other in general for helping to teach others how to fly the planes and how to fix them. There are 38 poems in this book. 3 of them are prose, the rest are not, in 81 pages. Some poems reflect the author's experiences growing up. Some are a call to young women to step to their future and embrace the world. A variety of poetic styles are used, each chosen to present the thought in its best form. It contains some hard truths and also caring and love. And the collage artwork by Yukua Holmes blends in well with the poetry, as you can see on the cover. Now some fiction for older teens. I think I've been talking really fast.
Yeah, you're doing good. We're only like 10:35 right now.
Oh, man. This is a full-color graphic novel. It's set during the 2016 election year. Iggy, a Colombian American, is starting high school and he is not in touch with his heritage. He ends up in Spanish class instead of the French he wanted, and he asks Marisol to help him with Spanish. She and her family are undocumented, and he learns of their efforts to become citizens. It includes some microaggressions and anti-immigration sentiments expressed by others because it was 2016 where that was quite in the news. Humor and family history is included when the ghost of Iggy's grandfather appears to him and offers rather poor romantic advice, as well as information about the family that Iggy didn't know. This is a fascinating story. It's told from 7 different points of view. Each of the 7 characters have their turn to say how they feel and what's going on. This is a story of some survivors. During the war in a fantasy world, each side created amazingly strong and magical fighters they called kindlings. They were created from children. The war between the 2 countries lasted for 100 years. Now 2 years of peace have passed and several kindlings are struggling to survive without using violence. Then a human from a borderland town comes to them for help. Protect the town from the band of thieves that rob, but leave just enough for the people to survive and raise more food. 7 kindlings should be just about the right number for this. This is a reimagining of the 7 samurai and told in a fantasy world here. And the characters all have their positive and their negative attributes that help them and hold them back. Evie is a senior in high school. She is neurodiverse, and her biology teacher refuses to offer any adaptations or accommodations to accommodate Evie. The school has a room called a lair where neurodiverse students can take a breather during the school day. It is kind of a secret, but one day a Muslim student experiences bullying. Another student tried to pull off her hijab, and she needs sanctuary. She finds it in the lair. Soon others are welcomed as they need a break from school. Evie is required to give her final biology presentation on foxes, but she wants to give it on octopi. This is a no-win situation for Evie because her teacher is standing strong. She loves the octopus Aretha at the zoo and volunteers there to work with her. Booklist says the author's insightful and honest depiction of the reality of life with an unruly brain makes this a must-read. This is the first book in a new series the series is called Above the Black. Conrad, 16, and his mother have been cast out of the highs, the privileged people's area, down to the lows, the poor, by his uncle, who killed Conrad's father. They are barely surviving, and then Conrad's mother is killed in an attack by a gargantuan, a huge flying beast. You can see it here on the cover, the snake-like thing. Now Conrad's only choice is to enter the selection to be chosen by one of the 12 trades. He becomes a hunter. They go out to kill the gargantuans whenever they find them. There's plenty of tough training, and then they enter the final test, the gauntlet, where each ship is crewed by novices, and each is on its own to kill the creatures. Along with this is the whispered notion that a possible rebellion is underway. Lots of action. Conrad remembers the ruthless advice from his father. Be strong, don't give in. But also the kindness recommended by his gentle mother, which approach will get him what he wants and what he needs. Book 2 just came out this week. It's called Among Serpents. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm looking forward to reading it. Annabelle, she's 18, and her family have agreed to participate in a documentary about their lives since Belle's mother disappeared 16 years ago and was never found. It is excruciating for Belle, but the money will be used for her grandfather's care, and they need it. Then her mother reappears and doesn't know who kidnapped her and kept her in a basement until they just recently let her go. Now home is strange. Belle catches her mother in a couple of minor mistakes in retelling her story and soon decides she is lying and is a bad person. Belle goes on a mission to prove it with the help of one of the camera crew of the documentary. Twists and turns, suspects and no suspects. Where was Rachel? And did anyone kidnap her? This is about the mystery, figuring out who is lying, because somebody's lying, and the effects on family are long term. Another full-color graphic novel, memoir/novel. As stated in the front of the book, this book takes 4 years worth of real class trips, dance performances, experiences, memories, and whispered secrets, and combines them into one fictional romantic comedy to try and get to the heart of what it was like living and loving under a totalitarian regime.
There you go. Yep.
It is set in South Korea in the 1980s. A folk dance team looks forward to their hiking trip to the mountains because once there, they can think and do whatever they like without worrying about the police coming to arrest them. And how hard it is for some of them to cut loose, even for that little amount of time. Bryn Kwan is a high school senior. She's 18, and she lives with a chronic illness that she keeps secret from her friends and everyone but her family. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, EDS, a connective tissue disorder. One thing that means is she dislocates fingers, shoulders, and other things a lot. Plus, her muscles ache and she is always tired. Her father, in the book, is Korean American, and he also has a form of EDS. After a bad experience in middle school, Bryn has kept her health a secret. She wants to be seen as normal and is involved with lots of school activities. But now, after a lawyer-parented jerk of an entitled student lied, Bryn cannot participate in any senior activities. She seriously considers dropping out. Her original goals for college are unrealistic with her disease. Her health will not allow her to become a doctor. What else is there for her? The author has one subtype of EDS and cautions that one person's story is not all EDS people's stories. Kirkus calls it poignant and insightful. These are so fun. Okay, I'm a sucker for princes and kings and queens and princesses, but this is just ridiculously fun. The first one, The Prince and the Apocalypse. Wren's senior trip to England goes badly awry. All of her plans were no good. She finds she only wants to go home and start getting ready for college. One last chance to complete something on her agenda. Breakfast at a famous spot is a bust since it's closed for renovation. A young man is standing nearby, and he turns out to be the runaway missing errant prince. Wren helps him avoid fans, and they part ways. But now she has missed her plane. The airport is overwhelmed, and she learns an asteroid is headed to destroy Earth in 8 days. She wants to get home. Prince Theo has promised her a favor for having helped him, and he agrees to help her get back to Chicago to say goodbye to her family. Many things happen. Mistakes are made. Life is wacky. Traveling to the Greek island of Santorini is not easy. That's where a royal plane is that could fly her back to the US. And hiding in plain sight is getting harder. Fun, dizzying, and completely unbelievable. Book 2, I read right away because I was heir apparently. More of the same, this time with Wren, her older sister Brooke, her best friend Naomi. Now Theo is king, King Theo and his siblings are all crashed on an unknown island, hoping for rescue. And there's a volcano about to erupt, because why wouldn't there be?
Of course.
Once again, fun, dizzying, and completely unbelievable, but just have a good time. So everybody needs some fun
Just
books. along
something
with the hard.
just for entertainment value, yes.
Yes. There's lots of hard things going on. There's also sometimes there's something fun. In Just Say Yes, Jimena, called Jimmy, is 17, living in New York City, Brooklyn, and she has just learned from her mother that they are both undocumented, and suddenly everything is different. She thought she was legal. She lands on the idea of getting married. No love, just get her papers and then divorce. But that isn't so easy to do. First, she tries a dating website, but her dates are not good. Her neighbor and fellow high school student, Vitally, thinks her plan is ridiculous, but he has agreed to sit outside the coffee shop as backup in case he's needed. His name is Vitally. I don't know why. Next, she tries a hidden website where people freely advertise for someone to marry for a green card. Vitally thinks this is dangerous, and he refuses to be involved. All this time that Jimmy is searching, she and Vitally spend a lot of time together and become comfortable with each other. Regularly, she asks him to marry her as a joke, and he always says no. Over time, she realizes that Vitally, who has a plan set in stone for college and beyond, is quite a great guy. What choices are left? What will she do now? Tess is the summer after she graduated from high school. She practically lives for swimming. She is working toward the swimming nationals and a scholarship for college. Then she has a seizure and almost drowns in a friend's pool. It could be epilepsy. Now she must follow restrictive safety rules in case she has another seizure. All her goals are in jeopardy. She searches the internet for information on others with epilepsy who competed in swimming, but she doesn't find much. She may have to set an example if her parents and her coach will let her. Full color interspersed with black and white panels, this is a graphic novel as well. Mags, a high school senior, is busy with school, her job, taking care of her beloved grandmother, and feeding her blood to the monster in the basement. She feels tired a lot of the time and is kind of going through the motions to get everything done. Then Nessa, a childhood friend, returns to town. Their shared history helps Megs face her secrets. Nessa's support for Megs brings them closer together throughout the story, and Megs tells her about the creature, which is a part of herself and is not actually dangerous when handled with love. Romance between Megs and Nessa gives the story a solid ending, handling the creature with love and finding a love of one's own. Full-color graphic novel about 4 friends. It's the summer after high school graduation. Cassie, who is planning to take a gap year, is in the front of the picture there, convinces her friends to play their game of risky slips, their dares, during August for the final time as a last reminder of what good friends they are. Each has things they want and need to do during the summer, but they meet up and challenge each other. There is some frustration and a bit of anger now and then while they work to find a new way to relate to each other since the end is coming. This is working through change, hanging on to one's friends, looking to the future. Neon is 17 and he and Aria have been together for 2 years. Now they are ready for their first time, for both of them. Neon is 24 seconds from leaving the bathroom to go to Aria. Then the story jumps back to 24 minutes ago and talks about their relationship there. And then 24 hours, the next chapter. And 24 days, the next chapter. Keeps going back, so it's going backwards in time, so you can learn more about their relationship and how they have been spending time together. And the story eventually returns to Neon in the bathroom. This is Reynolds' first romance, and as expected, he excels in the telling of it. Kirkus says, this rich, tender story captures the range of emotions surrounding emerging love and what they mean in the lives of young people. And it got starred reviews from 4 different journals, so that's pretty good.
Always love a Jason Reynolds book.
Yeah. This is a full-color graphic novel. Rihanna's older sister, Chelsea, disappeared on her way home from school. Rihanna and her family are following their Ojibwe traditions in working through their loss. though each person has their own personal reaction and approach to grief. Rihanna will wear Chelsea's regalia to honor her in the upcoming powwow. This is a shorter story, just 60 pages, but it is still powerful. For younger readers, I also recommended Redbird Dance by Don Quigley. It is on my best new children's books list of 2024. And that's another approach to the Indigenous women's death and missing situation that's been happening a lot. This is a graphic novel in tones of yellow and brown. Ash, 16, has a plan to leave his family and live in his grandfather's cabin in the woods in California, if he can find it. His family keeps calling him by his dead name and uses the wrong pronouns. He will be happier alone with his dog Chase. After plenty of preparation, from learning how to start a fire to how to cook on one, and so much more, health, first aid, everything, he plans really well to be prepared. His plan works and he and Chase strike off through the wilderness. He does find the cabin. It is in bad shape, but it is the temporary presence of a female hiker who helps him get it in good shape to once again be on his own. The appearance of a helicopter seemingly searching the wilderness reminds him to keep a low profile. School Library Journal says, Wang weaves a story of self-discovery, adventure, survival, and grit. And when the family calls him by his former name, it's just a black rectangle in the book. You don't know what that name was. It's just black, completely blacked out. So that is not his name, and he is not a girl. Oh man, I'm gonna get done early. This book, oh, I grabbed it and I just read like crazy. Living in a town on the fault line of the magic sealed into the ground was every day to Sid. She's 17. She lives in the town. Occasionally, wisps of something floated up from the ground, and this was what the tourists came to see. They wanted to see those wisps coming up. But one of the several guardians of the sealed area is killed, his key taken, and it is used to open up one of the several fault lines. Out come threads of magic that attach themselves to people and animals. Also, zombies and other monsters are on the loose, so there's some big trouble there. People are dying. The person behind this event, murder and destroying one seal, keeps claiming magic should be for everyone. But he is absorbing all the magic he can find and keeping it for himself. Sid joins the remaining guardians, her brother being one, and struggles to help make a difference in this situation. Who will survive? This is about doing your best in terrible circumstances, caring for others, also finding some self-acceptance. Kirkus says, the thoughtfully developed characters grapple with issues of race, insecurities, self-absorption, isolation, connection, family, loss, grief, and empathy. Readers won't want to put it down. I sure didn't. And I have to tell you, I'm done. That's my list.
All right.
So if anyone has anything they want to say about any of the titles I mentioned, you loved them, your teens are clamoring for them, or they hated it and told you to take it out of the collection because it's such a bad book. Just kidding.
I doubt that. I hope not. Yeah. And that's something didn't mention at the beginning is that there are so many books that are published in every year. No, we don't get them all. Sally can't read them all. That Heavy, the only thing she ever did, and with no sleep or anything else.
I like sleep.
Yeah, this is just a selection, of course. Your favorite title that you might have heard of, or your teens may have loved, might not have been on this list. This is just, Sally's from the books that we get a hold of, in which she's picked as some ones to highlight for you. All right, so thank you so much, Sally. These are always great, these sessions. This is an annual thing that Sally does, as you saw from the handouts list there. And if you look at our archives for NCompass Live, every year, best new children's books, best new teen books, and summer reading program list too. Some titles specifically for whatever next year's summer reading topic will be. We have thank yous coming through. Happy New Year. Yeah, Happy New Year to everyone. New Year, yep. I am going to pull presenter control back to my screen so I can do my wrap up here. All right, yeah, thank you. Good to see you. Yep, good to see you all too. So Sally's handout is on the website. Of course, you can always go and grab that whenever you want to. The recording will be available By the end of the day today, I'm going to say, I usually say the next day, but tomorrow we are closed as being a state agency, and tomorrow is the National Day of Mourning for President Jimmy Carter. We are closed tomorrow, so I will get the recording done for the end of the day today, since we will not be here working tomorrow. This is our NCompass Live page. If you use whatever is your search engine of choice and type in NCompass Live, the name of our show, you come up with our page. Nothing else is called that on the internet yet. You come up with our page. This is our upcoming shows, but right underneath them is a link to our archives. And you can see the most recent recording is Sally's Best New Children's Books of 2024 session. So if you do want to go and watch that companion show, the recording's already there. And she did do her summer reading program session for next year's summer reading topic, Color Our World, back in November, the recording, and her list is up there as well. Today's show will be at the top of the list here. The most recent ones are at the top. It will have a link to this recording, which will be on the Nebraska Library Commission's YouTube channel, and a link to Sally's slides and handout list as well. While we're here, I'm going to show you can search our show archives, see if we've done a top show on topic you might be interested in. And I'm not going to scroll all the way down, because if you can see the scroll bar over here, this is a huge page here. This is our full show archives going back to when NCompass Live first premiered, which was in January 2009. So we're what, 16 years or so? I've lost count. So just pay attention to the original broadcast date of anything you watch. Everything has a date when it was first done. Some of the shows will be fine to watch, stand the test of time, good, useful information. But some things may become old and outdated. Resources may have changed drastically. People may work at totally different places than when they presented for us. Links might be broken, et cetera, et cetera. But as long as we have somewhere to keep these, we will keep posting them. This is something libraries do, keep things for historical purposes. And as long as we have somewhere to host all of our show archives, which right now is on our YouTube channel, we will have them always up and available for you. We also do have a Facebook page. If you do like to use Facebook, give us a like over there if you want to follow what we're doing. We announce here's a reminder to log into today's show. Reminders of upcoming shows, when our recordings, we were off for a couple of weeks, when our recordings are available, etc. So if you want to keep track there. We also post on the Nebraska Library Commission's Twitter channel at the moment. We have use the hashtag NComp Live, a little abbreviation of our show name, to post out there as well. Oh, and on Instagram too. I almost forgot. Library Commission's Instagram account as well. So if you do want to follow us on social media. Next week's show will be on our Talking Book and Braille service. This is actually something that's in states all across the country, but we're Gabe Kramer, who is the director of our Talking Book and Braille service, and Miranda Shreves, who is their new marketing and outreach coordinator, are going to talk about our Talking Book and Braille service. This is books and items available for anyone with a visual or physical impairment that or reading disability that makes it hard for them to read traditional books. So if you want to learn more about that, join us next week. And you can see I've got our January dates filled out here. I'm getting already things into February, so keep an eye on our schedule. One last thing I want to mention is something else, another online event that we host here, run here through the Library Commission, is a Big Talk from Small Libraries. Yesterday, I posted the schedule for the upcoming conference. This is an online conference, always the last Friday in February. So it's on February 28th, this next month. It's an annual event we've been doing since 2012, where all of our presenters are from small and rural libraries with an FTE or population served of 10,000 or less. We do this in conjunction with the Association for Rural and Small Libraries, and it's free, open to anyone to watch anywhere across the country, across the world. And the full schedule is available, and registration has been open. So if you want to see what we've got coming up this year, you can check our schedule and you can register for the conference. It's free, it's online, totally online, using the same GoToWebinar software we're using right now. The whole conference is recorded. You can see here into previous conferences, we have all of our previous recordings and presentations from all the previous years. So please do register and join us on February 28th. And if you can't make it for the whole day, you'll be able to watch recordings afterwards. All right, that wraps it up for today. Thank you everyone for being with us for our first show of 2025. Hopefully we'll have a good year ahead of us. And thank you for being here with us, Sally. And everyone stay warm, and we'll hope to see you next week or on a future episode of NCompass Live. Bye-bye.
Bye.